ഭഗവതേ ശ്രീ അരുണാചലരമണായ ഓം നമോ 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 ഭഗവതേ ശ്രീ അരുണാചലരമണായ ഓം.
तान् कुर्वन्तु कर्माणि भजन्तु देवताः आत्मैक्यबोधेन विना विमुक्तिः न सिद्ध्यति ब्रह्मशतान्तरेऽपि. Let erudite scholars quote all scriptures. Let gods be invoked through sacrifices. Let elaborate rituals be performed, and let personal gods be propitiated. Yet, without realization of one's own identity with the self, there shall be no liberation for individuals, even after millions of births.
What Nilakantanji is talking about self, what Bhagwan has talked about self-inquiry, and so many other techniques. But if you want to know the self, you have to leave the ego. There is no other way. Whatever path you take, eventually you have to come to this. You have to give up that identity which owns this body mind, which has doership, which thinks about myself only. That has to go. I'll give you a very good example. Not to criticize anyone, but I couldn't find right now an example better than this. Okay, I am not sure how true this thing is. One of my friends, he works as an ED physician in Alfred Hospital in Melbourne. So, in Australia, we have TAC. And so it covers all the transport accident stuff. And, if someone has road injuries, it compensates for everything. Now, this guy who was working with them, he found this model so useful. He went and spoke to some ministers in India to implement the same stuff there. And he went with a team and they asked him, why do you want to do this? He said, just I want to help because it's such a good system and I can explain you and we all can help you and you can build up here and a lot of your issues would be sorted out and you will have enough funds to run this. And he went, he had first meeting and second and third, and on third meeting that minister said, but mera kya? What for me? So, this is what it is. I'll tell you, in India, I should not say like this, but must be in Australia, but I'm not that well versed how much corruption it is. But what about me? This what about me is exactly what that ego is. What about me? Everything it tries to find its own its own interest, its own importance, and what extra I will get. In any deal, it acts like a middleman. What about me? What I will get out of it? It's this ego, even if it is interested in welfare of others, it is still driving pleasure in helping others as self-motive. Not just because it is a goodness. No. It always has hidden motives. Sometimes at subconscious level. And until it goes away, completely disappears, God will not give you darshan. You will not see the God within. This is the only veil which is covering our true nature, actual identity, which always puts itself first. That is ego, and that has to go. Whatever technique you use, or no technique, if you understand this and you can identify ego in you and try to start non-cooperation movement with your own ego, you will be free in no time. All this is happening within us. No external source is affecting it. Especially, no one is affecting it negatively. I'll tell you why. So, people who are your enemies, they are definitely helping you because they're enemies of this ego. They are trying to get rid of this ego. So, they are your friends. They are real friends. You know, Kabir has said beautifully, Kabir was one of Indian saints. He said, Nindak niere rakhiye agan kuti chhawaye, bin sabun pani bina nirmal kare suhai. This is in Hindi, but it means that the critics, keep them in your house, give them the best place, middle of the house, because without soap and water, they will clean your mind. They will do all the cleansing, internal cleansing. Because they keep criticizing you, your ego will start disappearing. So whatever you use, and you can make your own technique how to get rid of this ego, this me, who actually always tries to put himself or herself first in anything. This has to go. See, in Bhagwan's case, even when he was given something for a sake of medicine, he will distribute to each and every people sitting in room 30, 40. So his allopathy dose used to become homeopathic dose, you know. He used to give it to everyone. Why? Because he thinks he is everything. Everyone is he. There is no ahem. There is no ego, ahankar. And more your ego is disappearing, more this godliness in you, this divinity in you is manifesting. It is inversely proportional, both of them. So it can be like a shade. One is disappearing, other is coming. Like when the sun is rising, darkness is going. And when the sun is fully up there is no darkness, no ignorance. And what are the other friends of this ego? Also remember that. Jealousy, anger, greed, fear, lust. They are all attributes of this ego. And no one has to tell you. You are your own judge. You are looking within. You know more than anyone else what is there inside and what is not there inside. So all this will disappear. They will run away the moment that sun within you shines forth. And it is not at all dependent on what your life was before. You can be a sinner or the worst person and nobody liked you and you've done all the wrong stuff. Doesn't matter. The moment that inner sun shines, everything disappears. When the inner sun shines, it is not dependent on your karmas. It is not dependent on what you have done in your life. It is just something, if you are open to it and you look for it, you will find it. Because before that, whatever you were doing in all ignorance, isn't it? If you know what you are, why would you do all this stupid stuff? We all behave in ego as an individual because that's what we know. We are conditioned by our mind, by society, by our education. We each act as an individual and we with that individuality, we have made up concepts, beliefs, so many beliefs, so many concepts. And whatever we have read or seen in our life, or people have shared their own experiences with us, that's what we think is truth. And that's what makes our personality, and we behave in a particular way. So that particular way has to dissolve completely. The person who takes ownership of all that information, that knowledge, and thinks it is true, has to disappear. So more you are intellectual, more you have gathered all this garbage, more difficult it becomes to be free. So a countryman, a simple man, for him it is very easy. A more analytical person who has well read, it is more difficult for that person. But it depends on your openness and your eagerness, and to understand the whole thing, where the problem lies. And once you understand and you are interested in it, you want to be free. Your freedom is not from anyone else. Your freedom is from your own mind, your own concepts. More you are close to them, more you hold tight. And if someone says anything exactly opposite to what your concepts are, you become agitated. That shows that there's a lot of ego is left. This could be on any topic or anything. Yeah, as a sake of fun, you can argue on any topic with anyone. That's not an issue. But those things which we hold very tight in our heart, and we think that is the true, what my path, what Bhagwan has said, that is true. No, everything is true. All paths are right. Everything is. But remember, whatever path you take, ego has to go. Because you can't see with ego. Ego is the only obstacle. You are your own obstacle. Either you can stay as a person, as an individual, or you can be that pure awareness, as a pure presence, as that shining light. It is like the same person, 180-degree turn. The moment it turns within, sees its true face. And ego keeps it always external. Because ego uses the mind to pick up objects. Ego's interest is always in things or beings or situations. It's always looking outwardly. It is like our antennas, which are looking, perceiving, judging, analyzing, just like any other animal. So you can say that absolute, that God has created us as an animal, but it is our efforts by which we can become God. Animal to God journey is in our hands in a way. At least we can put some efforts in that direction, start looking in that direction. Otherwise, staying in that ego mode, we and animals are not different. But we have this intuitive awareness within us on which we can reflect on our own pure self, and we can be free. But look, animals can do, but it is an exception rather than a rule. Like in Bhagwan's case, there were few animals, including Lakshmi cow. But let's not get into those things. Now we are in this human birth, human body. It is more conducive to freedom, and we should understand what is freedom about. Freedom is only freedom from mind. And all the thoughts which we think are disturbing us is because we are still acting like an ego as a person, and we have a lot of interest in so many things. We can still have interest, but we have to give away the self-interest. We can still like things around us, but not for me. Maybe to give it to someone else. Maybe to do something good for others, but not as an ego. So this ego, till this ego stays, the body will smell. And that is the veil which is covering our true nature, our true identity. And how we can get rid of it. Now comes the techniques. And if you want to follow what Bhagwan says, and some people call it a direct path, some call non-duality as a direct path, because you actually, it is not even a path, because you stay as awareness. Now, what is the problem in staying as awareness, as pure presence? Only your old habits will come back and will try to drag you into the person mode. And just stay still. And then your mind will talk to you, no, no, this is not happening right with you. You are such a nice person. This person is deceiving you. You should do like this. So just stay still. Then something else, it will keep bringing things to you, arguing with you, your own mind, thoughts. Sometimes they can be really big thoughts, heavy weight, and they know your old habits. But stay still. How long they will continue doing that stuff with you? When you don't move, you stay in your stillness, soon all thoughts, all these agitations, emotional upheaval, this will just start disappearing. It is only our interest in these things which keeps us going. Otherwise, there is nothing to talk to anyone. When we talk to people, what we talk? We talk about sports, movies, politics, environmental crisis, or some geographical situations, or family issues. All things we are at some level interested in as ego. We think that these are important things. And then we get passionate about so many things in life which we think are important to us as an ego, as an individual. Awareness is uninvolved. Awareness is just a witness to whatever is happening. You can't say awareness likes things or dislikes things. It just accepts things. So other very easy way to free yourself is by total acceptance. Whatever it is, it is. And a person who has totally accepted everything the way it is coming to him or her, what will be that person's prayer to God? There cannot be any prayer, because if you are happy with whatever he is bringing in your life, then what would you pray for? That change my situation? That means there is a resistance. Like, what would be the prayer of a person who is free? How would he or she will pray to God who is free, who has no ego? Would he or she will say that I love you, you are my God, Lord, please try to sort out all my worries and problems? Would you say that without ego? Such a shameful act if an egoless person says that, because he has accepted whatever he is giving or taking away. Because when we ask from God that please take away our all obstacles in life, then on the first place, who has put those obstacles? If you think they are obstacles, that absolute, isn't it? Because without his permission, nothing can happen. That means you are finding fault in him only. So, in a way, you say that I love God, you pray to God, and then you want God, just try to sort out few things. I don't like this way, and I don't like this, and please just do these few things, and look, I am your devotee, so you can do for me, and I pray to you, and please do it for me. So what you are saying is that on the first instance you have no total acceptance. Second, you are finding fault in the absolute. And third, it is again me, and me. So all your prayer, all that what you are doing from religion or from a spiritual point of view or from your prayers is keeping your ego and then doing everything. How can you be free? I'm not saying whether God will listen to you or not. He listens to everyone and He will do what you are asking, but you will not be free. You will believe on your prayers, you will believe on God. So God and the Word and that ego will stay. You will be in duality always. As Neelakantanji was saying, unless you know the self, it can take millions of years and you will still be like that, coming like a puppet. And next birth again a puppet and then puppet. If we understand where the problem is, it is so easy to sort it out. There is only one person in this whole world who is happy with God. That is the one who is a Jnani, who is free, who is egoless. He is the only happy person because he accepts whatever comes. Because he knows everything is just his creation. He is creating every human being, all beings, animate, inanimate, sentient, insentient. It is all his power. He is in everything. And it is just a play. I'll tell you another secret. An egoistic person always wants things to be in his favor, but he can't do anything about it. And an enlightened person can change whatever he wants to change, but he never wants to. So in both situations, the thing stays the same. Don't think a person who is realized when changes happens, good things happens around them, whether it's Jesus or Buddha or Ramana Bhagwan, whoever. It is not their intention. Things just happens because in goodness, good things happens, But they have no intention to change anything. They don't want to. They are happy with whatever because they know the absolute. But it is a huge, big difference. One has all the power but doesn't want to change anything because he does not want to mess around. He knows on whose orders things have been done. And then there is the small man, egoistic individual, tiniest of tiniest in this whole cosmos, who wants to change. He knows about his rights and he wants to change because he does not know his responsibilities. He only knows his rights. And he wants to preserve this body which is fading away, which will be soon just dust. So just think what is at stake. I know we all do so many different professions and our life is going on and we have created a family, a house, a community, a friend circle. Billions of people have done before us, and where are they? Disappeared. What happened with all their friend circle? Disappeared. Houses disappeared. Everything in dust now. Where their ego has gone. Ego has taken another birth. And the cycle goes on. And what a wastage of time, isn't it? For God it is a play, but for ego it is just wastage. Created an empire and then dissolved. If you think it is a play, then it is no problem. But all these beings who were there before us thought they are important, they have done something important, and then everything dissolved. So they carried lot of desires, attachments with them, and so comes the next birth to fulfill those desires. But when this cycle will end? So many people can argue that in life, when you work hard, you can earn money, money can give you comforts, and you can have a life of pleasure and comfort, and you can also fulfill your sensual desires. And maybe you are a man of moderation, so you're not really indulging in things, and you will have some pleasure and happiness within this materialistic world as an ego. And I'm not denying it, there's no doubt about it, you can get all those. But what I'm trying to say is it is transient. It's not going to last long. And always, as with light there is darkness, with pleasure there is always pain. Just like after having few drinks there is hangover next day. Always there is suffering. Suffering always comes with all this joy and happiness which we derive from all these things around us. And it is transient. And eventually it will all be an end. So the sum total of all this running for all these sensual pleasures at the end is only suffering, pain, because when those things will not be there because of your addiction, you will suffer because now you don't have those things, or they have been taken away from you. Like someone has died, or situations have changed, or someone has run away, or maybe you are dying. You have to convince your own self to be free. And you have to put efforts no one else can do for you. And if you are not ready, it's okay, nothing wrong about that. Billions of other species and people and human beings, they are all going on that same cycle again and again. Even if you don't believe in rebirth, that's also okay, because even in this birth, you can stay in that conditioned atmosphere, and it's not that bad if you are not doing that many of bad stuff and you stay as a good man. But good man is not a free man. There are a lot of good people around us. They are doing a lot of good stuff, but that doesn't mean they are free. Free in sense that no stress. And stress is also not a big deal. But freedom is freedom from all these desires and contentment and bliss. This bliss is not like jumping around. Some people can jump in that bliss. Sometimes it comes so much, it comes in waves. But it is indescribable. No one can describe it. Giving away ego looks very hard. But I'll tell you, once it is gone, what is after it is gone is indescribable. Nobody can ever describe, because to describe you have to use a mind. Mind has no clue. Mind is a small product out of it. All these bodies are product out of it. Everything is coming out of it. Who can describe it? No one. You can be in it, but you cannot describe it. It is indescribable. It is beyond this word. Nothing of this word can match it. Though everything comes out of it only. So, nothing needs to be done to know this. Only your interest, that's all. If your interest is there, somehow that awareness will make all the right arrangements according to your buddhi, your intellect, according to your mind, according to your circumstance. It knows you, it knows exactly what level you are on and how much you can understand and perceive things. So it will do everything for you. It will give you in plate 5-star treatment for you. Only thing it wants from you is interest in that, love for that, respect for that, paying attention to that, and not paying attention to the things outside in the external world. Stop sniffing things around you and have interest in this awareness. And when you have interest here, it will give you all knowledge, purest of pure, after which you don't have to read any book or compare any notes. Because what happens, all the learned spiritual religious people, what they do, they keep reading books. That's all. And other people think they are intelligent because they can read without seeing a book. They have memorized all those shlokas and mantras and Bible and Gita and Quran, and they can just keep saying. But even parrot can say that. Just saying something doesn't mean that you know it. You can write a cookbook, but someone has to cook that food and eat it, to taste it. So all these books are cookbooks, but someone has to do it practically. You have to experience. Unless it's your experiential knowledge, it is just a wasteful exercise to keep reading the books day and night. If these books have knowledge, you have to apply that knowledge. Whatever practical advice any book gives you, unless you apply it, and you don't have to, it is not that difficult. Just because you have interest in 100 plus things, that's why your mind is divided, scattered, and it just keeps going out in so many things. The day you have decided, no, I need to know myself, you are trying to bring that energy back to that seeing. And because you have put so many years into so many things, it is a process. That's why it takes time. Otherwise, self is always there. It is eternal. But because of your wrong notion that I am this body mind and I'm interacting in the world as body mind, and I have this interest, and this is good for me, this is not good, you have to come out of it just by just staying as a witness. More you start staying as a witness, as silence, whatever people say, they don't say, they criticize, they like, they dislike, soon you will become so indifferent to everything. Because slowly you will start realizing that I am always happy. Though people don't respect me, though I am not earning that much of money, though my health is not that great, but somehow I am so happy, so contented. This happiness is within us if we pay attention to it. So stop running for things around you. As Bhagwan says very beautifully, disinterested actions. So things are happening, people are going, you have been invited, you have to go, you interact. But not attracted towards things, or not even repulsive also, I should say. Because I think in spirituality, vairagya, dispassion for things, is very easy to achieve. Almost everyone gets it. But to say, I should not say bad stuff, but it's still indulgence and all those things which probably you were liking before. Now you don't like it, and then sometimes we start criticizing, which is bad. So no rag, no dvesh, no attraction to things, and no hate. Because sometimes we and again, this is the ego. Remember, this ego comes in very different forms. Sometimes it starts saying, oh look, I don't like all these things, these people are not behaving right, they are not spiritual. And that is the thing. So it starts uh, criticizing people, demonizing people, which is wrong. That means there's something in us which, even if it does not like things, hate, that is again connection of hate. So stay in that neutral gear. Good or bad, who cares? Who has created, he has to care, isn't it? When we have not created anything, why should we worry? And these all people which, even if you think they are not doing the right things, then you have not, they're not born out of you. So who has, he will take care. Who are us to, we are not reformers. We are only peace lovers. So stay in your peace. So there are subtle points which you will understand on your own. You don't have to read any book for that. If you stay in awareness, awareness will teach you all the good lessons. You don't have to go through a religious books, do's, don'ts, rules. No need. You leave this bondage and you pick up another bondage when you go through the rule book. Then those religious groups actually can exploit you, because as an ego you will break few rules, then you will be guilty, then you will confess, and then they will bring your enlightenment. Just don't worry. Till we are holding the ego, we are sinner in a way. The moment ego goes, everything washes away. It is like in India, people go to Ganges and they wash all their sin. Go into yourself and wash away all the sin forever. This light, this self-effulgent light of our pure self washes away everything. It is like jewel in these 5 sheaths of our body. When we sleep, when we go to bed at night, what happens with the mind sheath? Mind sheath is sleeping in deep sleep. Intellectual sheath is sleeping. So we are in a way free from this mind sheath, intellectual sheath. Breath sheath, you can say breath is going on, but you are not aware of it. Body sheath, body, yes, we are not aware of it. So in deep sleep, we are very close to that bliss. And we feel that bliss, ananda, but only an after effect. So what is not allowing us in deep sleep to know our true self? What is that? That is the last sheath out of those 5 sheaths, which we call as bliss sheath, or the Anandmaya Kosha. We call it Anandmaya because it is closest to the bliss. Bliss is self, true self. And that is the ignorance. And you can even pierce that Anandmaya Kosha, and you can be what you are by just staying as an awareness, staying as a witness to whatever is happening around us. What is, okay, if let's say you go to a footy match, if you are not part of any of the teams, not a player, not a coach. As a spectator, you come from some other country, you don't even know what footy is, and you just watch. You don't know the language. So what are you? You are like a pure witness. You don't know what is happening, but you're just enjoying. Someone is throwing a ball from here to there, and both parties, both teams are same for you. If we can stay like that, we can be free in no time. Because when you are not participating, mind has no role to play. Stay in that impartial, neutral atmosphere within you. And you know it will do everything for you. Mind will be settled, emotional attachments will go away, strong emotions will go away, and you will start receding from the body mind complex on its own. You don't have to do anything. Because you are living as awareness, so the things what are not awareness will recede from you. Then it will be so difficult even to remember your name, and then you have a form, and then proud of anything or knowing about your body and mind. What you call as mind is only bundle of thoughts, thought after thought after thought, which keeps you busy because of doership. And when you stay as witness, mind starts fading because there is no work for it. And what is left is nothing. Nothing is left. So actually you become nothing. That self-importance goes away. But somehow that gratitude for that absolute comes. I don't know how come, but it is the way it is. The devotion to that pure comes. Maybe that joy, that's the way, or maybe that absolute uses this body for its own purpose, or that bliss has this characteristic. Who knows? And once you know, or you know nothing, you know that everything is just part of that same. Everything, not just human beings, but everything. Everything is that only. You just have to know within you, that's all. Then everywhere you see that only. But the mystery of this whole thing is that even if your partner knows it, he or she can't help you. You have to take your own efforts. People can show you the way or can talk to you about it, and you can feel it. And that feeling or that thing which most of the time people are not there because they still have some doubt about it. They're not 100% sure. They think maybe it might be fake. Maybe there's nothing like this. Maybe it's just like self-hypnotism, or maybe just another emotion. These self-doubts actually don't allow you to be there. Because because you know what is at stake. It is the death of mind which is at stake, death of that ego, the one who is jumping from this. So that power of Maya, which has created this play, it will be losing one person, isn't it, out of this game? So let's say it's a football team, they will be losing one player. Once you are out, then you can't be fooled around, isn't it? But it comes from the same source, that illusion comes from the same source from where this knowledge comes. Depends what you are interested in. If you're loving illusion, you stay in illusion. If you want to know, something in you wants to be free or wants to know the truth, then the same power helps you to get out of it. Why we call it grace when so much of efforts are needed and your interest is needed? Because these efforts and this interest is also the grace, isn't it? Otherwise, look how many people are interested. On Wednesday night, we are, how many people are there in so many things happening around us, why they are not interested? Who can tell this? So from now onwards, start loving yourself. Not just loving yourself, but respecting yourself also. And paying attention to this. Try to listen to it. Like, pregnant lady, they can feel the fetus sounds kicking, there's something internal is happening. Have that interest in your own birth. They say it's like Dvija, it's a second birth, a real birth, eternal birth. And keep your eyes, keep your ears to that. It is so pure and it is so humble. Stay in it and never move from it. Even if you don't know what it is, don't worry. It is pure silence. It has no name, no form. And it is the one which is before everything what we see. Nothing of this word can signify, can tell you what it is, though everything is coming out of it. But you have to come back. Bring all your energy from your mind, which is moving into so many directions for so many things. It has to come back from sensory indulgences and everything. And pay attention to that pure energy. And stay at the door of this pure energy. And you know what it does? It shows you your own real self. It can be a slow process, it can be a rapid process. It can happen in different ways in different people, but it always happens without exception. If you give away your interest, give away your efforts, then it is not the fault of awareness. It is like you're almost at that boiling point to change from liquid to vapor, liquid to steam, air. And you have given away self-effort, so you have turned off the burner. That heat, that longing should continue till you find your own beloved within you. If that goes away, then whose fault is it? And if it is dwindling, then pray that Absolute to give me that longing, that burning desire, or paying attention to that awareness. At least you can ask this. This is a beautiful prayer. Prayer for freedom is the most, I think it is the most pure prayer, I should say, because you're asking for God only, from God. Who else can tell you about God? Only God can tell you about God. This is the purest desire. Or maybe it is the last desire. After that, the one who is seeking will disappear. Will disappear because that absolute actually turns you into absolute only. He moves you from such a low level of human identity to that level. That is the beauty of that absolute. He treats you at equal level. We human beings don't even treat other human beings at the same level. But God treats us at His level, not as human beings. And He never sees our sin, what we have done in the past. We always judge others, isn't it? That's why we call Him God, isn't it? And the good news is, He's always there with us. He never leaves us. And the other good news is, we are Him only. And the third good news is, it is possible for us to know it. Wherever you come from, whether you follow any religion or don't follow, doesn't matter. Only thing which is needed is your interest. We say Bhagwan Ramana Satsang. There's no need to call it Bhagwan Ramana Satsang. There's no need to call Arunachala or to visit Tiruvannamalai or Ramana Ashram. There's no need. Once you know, you are free. But there is something which is so thankful that though it is non-duality and there is no need, but it just, the heart flows to it. And for a seeker also, sometimes it's good to hold on to something which has done it and time tested, so like a support. But then each to his own. There is no need for all those things, but it's just like an extra support, moral boost up. Because if you stick with the teachings, sometimes people's mind just wanders around. It might go into something else. But if you keep a teaching in front of you, at least you know that, yes, I have to stay here only, focus. Sometimes it helps in that way. But there's no necessity. You can like anyone, you can follow anything, but stay on the same technique or path and don't keep digging holes in different parts. Otherwise, you can't have a deeper well to get that jewel out, to drink that nectar. Just focus on those purest of teachings and just stay there. Another important thing is, once you know it, I think it is also good to stay there with those teachings, because now you are there, you know how. Just stay there. Don't just muck around. Don't play with Maya. Don't think about, you can again get into trap of something else. So it's better to just stay humble and quiet. If you see, even, someone asked Bhagwan about why sometimes even the self-realized people get problems, and someone asked him about this thing, and he said, everyone needs a lesson in life. Sometimes people think they are free, so the absolute has to teach a lesson sometimes. So look how openly he says that The main thing is your humbleness and humility, which should always be there. Whatever seeker or a person who knows what he is the same, no difference. Maybe it's just a great different, maybe. And it's going to happen to everyone. And to everyone. In reality, it has to happen to everyone. Time is time, you can say it might happen after a million years, but it has to happen. It might have happened millions of years to us right now, even to understand this path. It is Kali Yuga, it is the last it is the tail end of yugas. So it's not that we are the last in the line. Nothing to be proud of. But anyway, whenever it is happening, that's all His grace. And we should accept that grace with folded hands and stay on the path, stay together, love everyone around you. The best thing what we can do is to love everyone around us, irrespective how they are. We are no one to judge. The only one who can judge them is God. But the truth is, God never judges anyone. He just gives. So remember, if you want to be that, you have to have some qualities of that, isn't it? At least we can start with some humble beginning, just accept whatever it is. And stay in that bliss within us and spread that same bliss and love to everyone around us. Thank you, everyone. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.